listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
Hello there, IELTS students. In this tutorial, we are talking with Patricia, and she's got some great results from her latest IELTS test. So before we jump into it, Patricia, could you tell me a bit about yourself and why you're taking the IELTS, please?
So I just graduated medicine and I was exploring my options, where can I go and practice medicine. And since I didn't really get that much interested in doing medicine, being a doctor in Poland, I started exploring my options where I can use my English. And I found Ireland as an option for continuing practicing medicine there. But I had to do IELTS to do that. I also explored a bit about the medical practice in the UK, and I tried doing IELTS for the UK, but it's my fault that I kind of explored it too late.
Yeah.
Because the score is very high, which I have to get there. I have to get 7.5 in each section and to have 7.5 overall.
Right.
Which is super hard.
Yeah.
In a short period of time, because I was still a medical student. So depends how much time you devote for it. But for Ireland, it was slightly lower. I had to get 6.5 in each section and have 7.5 overall. So I managed to get that score this year.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
And just a quick question. Was the English route to instead of Ireland, was the route to England, was it slightly more bureaucratic because of Brexit and all of that?
Yeah, there's a lot of documents that you have to gather. For example, I think some visa documents, but I think it's very well organized with the hospitals, because you're assigned for the hospital for 2 years. I think I have no checked information about that so much. Because I depended a lot on the opinions of my friends. Friends, I found those people online, and I asked them, what do you think about the UKFP program? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think, because I kind of have in mind which doctor I want to be. And I want to be a gynecologist, and I found out that it's not so easy to get into that specialization exactly. They are trying to kind of fill in blanks in the system, and it's not gynecology. So
I see.
Yeah, so I was thinking a lot about it, that it's a lot of effort for probably doing bureaucratic work for 2 years, and in Ireland it's just 1 year of we call it stage in Poland. It's kind of a postgraduate 13 months of practice as like an internship, which is still paid. There's a lot of documentation also to gather for Ireland, but for a shorter period of time for internship.
I see.
Yeah.
Right then, that's interesting. And then, as you said before, both routes, the one to Ireland and the one to the UK, required your IELTS exam.
Yeah.
But the Irish route was required slightly lower level. And I remember you worked with us before, didn't you? And you took the IELTS General.
Yeah.
And what results did you get when you worked with us before?
So I took my first IELTS exam was academic, and I managed to get, I think I got 7. I don't remember, because it was like 2 years ago, and I kept studying for another IELTS already. So I think I got 7 from writing, but I was practicing. I was going like mad woman, really. I was writing. I was trying to find a resource that is going to tell me, okay, you're writing this well, you're using the good vocabulary, because as I told you before, I'm also a tutor, but my vocabulary stays on the level of A2, B1, maybe B2 sometimes, but most primary school students are based on this vocabulary for A2. So for me, it was hard to jump into vocabulary immediately, like C1, just B2, just like use very high vocabulary. So when I was using your website, every time it was telling me, you can use a little bit higher vocabulary, higher level. I was like, no, I know, but I'm just so used to the vocabulary that I'm using with my students. It was so difficult at the beginning, but I did a lot of writings. I think that's the clue. You just have to, even if you feel that you have no idea what is an essay, what you are reading, you just have to go with the flow. And even now when you have this AI feature, it's gonna kind of give you the idea what they are looking for. So it's really good. Yeah.
Right. So that was the main problem that you were looking to solve, was the vocabulary.
Yeah.
And you realized that the vocabulary was the issue because you were using the AI essay checker on IELTSPodcast.com. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I see. Excuse me. So you took the academic, and that's when you said you were like a mad woman, just writing, and using the AI essay checker, getting that instant feedback, and just realizing vocabulary was the issue. And then once you realized the vocabulary was the issue, what steps did you take to improve your vocabulary?
I had some American book with vocabulary, which is it's basically you have a list of words, and then they are used in reading texts. So it was sometimes I tried really. This is actually what I teach my students to just don't look for the translation in your own language, because each language has different vocabulary. So there's no sense in translating exactly to this word. At the beginning, it's good, but when you go on, it's good to understand it in another language. So I had a list of vocabulary from some topics that I felt weak at. So for example, family and relationships, I didn't feel bad about it because also my boyfriend is Italian, so we use English every day. And for me that topic wasn't a problem. But when I had science, environment, I tried also to stay in medical vocabulary. Sometimes it was like my safe point. Even when speaking, I try to connect everything to medicine, and like every time going to this topic.
That's interesting you said that. I have mentioned to do something similar before on a previous tutorial. I said, look, if your specialization, if you know a lot about, say, for example, technology, in your case in medicine, then there's no harm in diverting the conversation to that kind of subject. Obviously, if they ask you about volcanoes, you can't talk about muscle groups, obviously. But there are some opportunities. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was, just to clarify, so when you're expanding your vocabulary, you don't look for the direct translation in your own language. You look for the description, the meaning in English. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I remember actually my Spanish tutor said exactly the same, and then she'd say, oh, and then you look for the meaning, and then you find other words that you don't know, and then you go look for the meaning for that, and you end up, but that's it is a really effective way to
or even in the context of reading, when you do the reading and you go into the read and you're like, oh, okay, this is this one. I remember the word myriad right now, and I had no idea what is a myriad, and then I looked, and it meant like something like a lot of, like you have plenty of, and you can use myriad instead. And then I found it. I was watching a TV show and there was a myriad. I was like, okay, this word actually exists. I'm not going crazy. So in the context, just like kind of getting accustomed to this word, and then it's good.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So you took the IELTS academic. That's when you said you were like a mad woman. That was a while back. And
Yeah,
you was taking exam after exam sorry, not
yeah.
taking exam after exam after exam. We'd probably be bankrupt if we were taking
Oh
exam
yeah,
after
oh yeah, oh
exam.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
doing, uh,
Then general, yeah.
okay, then you took the general.
Yeah,
Is that
I
right? Yeah.
I talked with some friends that were applying for UKFP because the 2 years ago I found the offer for the UK
Hmm.
without any exploring. I was just okay. I'm gonna give it a shot. If I get in, I'm gonna start thinking because there was very little time for everything. And my friends were like, "Okay, you got 7 from writing. You need 7.5. So let's try to do 7.5 from writing, but in general, because they also accepted the general training exam."
Right.
But so I got the 7.5 in writing. I was very happy because there was the letter. It's kind of more. I wouldn't say it's easier. It's just a different format.
Hmm.
In the academic, there's the chart to describe,
Yeah.
and this is something that might be a bit difficult
Mm.
because you just need to kind of get used to the vocabulary, like rise, increase, and that kind of things. So
Mm.
that was my study also for academic, studying this specific words for to describe it. But for letter it was easier because I felt like it's kind of like a conversation, kind of like a monologue with somebody, but you have to just describe it in the letter.
Yeah.
And I managed to get 7.5, but because I was so focused on writing, I think that I didn't practice enough from reading and from other sections.
Yeah.
So listening was okay. I got the limit, and then I received 5 from reading, and that
Oh.
was that was my. I felt completely. I was so shocked about it because I saw first 7.5 writing, and I was like, wow, okay, that I have it. And then I saw the reading and I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
I even wrote to IELTS and I asked them to verify it again because it's not possible that I think I
Yeah.
had like 9 or 8 from academic, and just a month later I get 5 from general. And
Yeah. That
yeah,
doesn't
it
add
was
up, does it?
completely. I have no idea what happened really, because I also felt very confident about reading afterwards.
Yeah.
And nothing really happened, which was a bit disappointing. And I
Mm.
kind of lost hope for it. It was too late for UKFP for me.
I see. I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
just
kind of lost hope at that moment. Also, I
yeah.
got stressed on speaking because I told you I was really focused on writing, and I lost to zero point 0.5 points on speaking, and I
Oh
was
no.
because I remember, and this could be a good advice for some other people, that I was so focused on not saying I like too much or not saying, in my opinion, too much. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still after. I had a kind of like a flu or a cold before.
No worries.
I was so focused on saying not don't say too much I like, not too much in my opinion, just
Yeah.
use a lot of vocabulary. And I was so focused on this that I kind of forgot that there's the time limit, and then all of the factors combined,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is not going well.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. So
Yeah,
just to summarize, you then took the academic. That was for the UK route. You possibly focused a little, you were just 100% focused on the writing. You
yeah,
achieved your goal in the writing, but
yeah,
unfortunately, the other 3 were kind of pushed to the side because you
yeah,
were so, but you got the goal in writing, but the
yeah,
other ones slipped.
yeah,
And I see, I see. So that's why you took it a 3rd time. Is that right? For the
yeah.
Irish route.
Yeah, exactly. I had
Gotcha.
my 6th year of medicine because when you apply to the UK, you have to apply after your 5th year of
Hmm.
medicine. And for Ireland, kind of similar. You can apply during your 6th year. But I said it was too much. I already took 2 times IELTS. I have the 6th year. I'm graduating. There's too much going on. I'm gonna wait. So I waited this until the end of the 6th year to decide what I'm gonna do. And then I saw that I have to do IELTS again for Ireland with my lower scores, but I just then remembered about reading. I was like, no, you cannot just like focus just on the reading. So what happened is that the deadline last year was, okay, you have to do it until the end of February. But then this year they withdrew the option. Withdrew the test that is also a part of qualification. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so how are they going to qualify on the first step? Probably everyone is going to have the IELTS. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's wait until they publish actually every requirement, but I'm going to start studying slightly. And then I got the requirements, and there was the IELTS that I have to do it until the 18th of November.
Wow.
So
okay.
yeah, I kind of predicted it, but I was on the track already for the whole year.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you had to do it, and you were you had the suspicion you would have to take the IELTS, and then you started preparing for it the third time.
Yeah.
And what resources were you using, and like how did you approach it? Because you learned probably from last time not to neglect any of the other disciplines. Yes. How did you prepare this time?
So I knew that I have very limited time. There was limited number of dates. I also couldn't take it in Poland, so I had to go to Italy to my boyfriend, who was a bit there was a lot of effort into this take. And I knew that I was also working, I was tutoring. So with reading, I thought that I'm really on track. I'm just gonna go through a few tests, and I'm just gonna have the idea how it looked like, what I have to look for. With listening, I honestly just checked a few tips on I remember it was Pinterest, I think, just like what to focus on, just find the similarities. I think with listening, you kind of have to just know what the questions look like, just maybe this one, know that you have to find similarities in words. So for example, they are not going to say a bottle of water, they are going to say bottled water or something like this. You kind of
100%.
So I had this one, and then I just tried to kind of listen to the radio, just like kind of surround myself with this higher English vocabulary, which is not sadly Instagram pages scrolling around. No, it's not this one. Like you have to avoid easy vocabulary very much. So I try to avoid it.
Can I ask what radio programs did you listen to?
BBC radio, or BBC when they talk about the weather. I have the iTune in, I think, or something. This app, which is, I think, but I try to use the BBC, even when they publish some news, then I try to read it as well for the sake of reading, for example. Yeah.
And when you was doing the listening and the reading, when you was reading the news or listening to the radio, was it all passive? Like, were you doing the washing up or tidying up or something, or were you sat down with a pen and writing things down?
I had my notes on my iPhone open, and when I heard a word, I tried to write it down and just check for the meaning. And I also just now remembered that I downloaded audiobooks instead of reading a book. I downloaded Everend. I'm not sponsoring anything. I just know that this is a good resource. But it was a really good idea to start listening to audiobooks, because and I tried to focus on British English, because I thought, okay, American English is just fast. But for me, being fast is not a problem. For me, the problem was the accent sometimes when I was listening to it. But I think audiobooks helped a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And was it fiction, non-fiction, or What
Yeah,
kind of
just I
audiobook?
think it was just like a romantic. I stayed with Jojo Moyes,
Uh-huh.
the British writer. It was very I like her a lot because I feel like vocabulary is not too complex. It's just
Hmm.
simple relationships, but it's kind of it's not discouraging because some of the books are um I don't know, you find so many descriptive words
Yeah,
that it's a
it's
bit
a
difficult to
challenge.
keep track. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I've had the same when I've been learning languages. Like some books, I'll be like, oh, this one's going to really push me. But there's only a certain amount of vocabulary that
yeah,
I can misunderstand or misinterpret. And then I start tuning out.
yeah,
And then it's just sound then. And
exactly.
it's a waste of
Yeah,
time. So you went for audiobooks that weren't so challenging, but it was more a case of like keeping yourself in the story and keeping
yeah,
yourself listening,
yeah,
right? And it was
exactly.
I just want to re-mention what you said about the listening, because I think that's a great point, what you said about how the questions are phrased. And once you get to know the structure of the questions, it becomes a lot easier. So you did practice tests for the reading, and then you did you do practice tests for the listening as well, or was that
No,
just
I didn't
audio
have
book?
the time. No, no, no.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I just looked through my book because I have this set of IELTS. I don't know how they are called now, but it's like the set of I think three very thick books, and
Mhm.
they are like American, I think.
Right.
Uh,
I
yeah,
see.
I bought them some time ago when I was studying for the previous IELTS, and they have some tests. So I just looked, okay, this one is constructed in this way. And for the first IELTS, I was listening already to. I did the listening
Yeah,
a few times just to have the idea, and I remembered how it looked like. So
I see.
that's
I
why I
see.
had the idea already.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
then for the writing, you were using the essay check-in service
Yeah.
on the IELTS podcast, right?
Yeah, yeah. At the
Gotcha.
beginning of the when I was studying for the last time, I it was already 2 years, like 2 years passed, so I didn't remember the name of the page, and I was very frustrated. And I remember this one evening, I was just writing. I was like, IELTS check. I don't remember how was it called, and I was trying to find it. There was some other website that I tried to use, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it's not it, like I knew it's not this thing. I couldn't describe what it is, but just how I could see that, okay, this essay is being checked, or underlining the words, or what grammatical structure I was using, and it was just better. I don't know, it's just
Gotcha.
keeping the track of this. Not to brag about the page, but really it was it I really found this was a good resource for me, really.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
And just for the listeners, can you break down how you use the essay checker?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you have a system like it said, okay, this vocabulary needs upgrading, and then you went and did XYZ? How did you use the checker to improve
Mm-hmm.
your writing?
So at the beginning, I tried to write the topic, obviously, because there's the frame for the topic, and then starting to write the essay. But then when I started to do it on the page and I put the timer, it was so stressful to see the timer that I couldn't do it like starting on the page. So I just opened the docs document, and I started to realize that it was very difficult when I was writing the topic from the book, because I was doing the topics from the book, not from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that on IELTS, when you write something, you already have the idea what's the topic, so you have kind of this extra time.
Mm.
So I was trying to make a photo, but with scanning the text, so I can just copy the text later to the checker,
Right.
and then just writing it in the docs and having a quick look at it, and then just pasting it on the page and checking it.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
so you didn't use the checker to write the essay because it was stressful. You wrote the
yeah,
question in a Word document, then you copy pasted it into the checker,
yeah,
And then you hit submit.
Yeah.
And then what was your next step, Patricia?
So then you have to wait for the checker to verify everything, because the first mark I always got this first mark immediately, but it was always lower than the mark that that got like with that arrived with time.
Oh,
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it a 5 minutes. I'm gonna make myself some tea. I'm gonna chill for this 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna check. And then I was checking the essay. What I did was I was looking at the words that it underlined, which were repeated, and if I can change them, because I remember my biggest struggle was the word children. And there was the word youth, there was the word toddler, and I think that I loved this research for this, because I didn't have to like look around all of those pages on the internet and find synonyms for the word children.
yeah.
It just gives you the idea immediately which word you could use. It also helped me on the official IELTS. I had a topic about, I think, education or something, and I had to use the words students, toddlers, I don't know, pupils.
I
I was
see.
trying to make it more diverse, and the AI was also helpful, because it not didn't change my essay completely on the website, but it kind of like paraphrased my sentences, and they were better, and I was sometimes writing them down and just like comparing them with mine. How could it be better?
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's two things there. You when you were using the essay checker, you were using when it underlined words that were repeating, it offered synonyms like almost instantly once it had done the detailed check. And then the extra AI one, it kind of paraphrased it and gave you some more sentences with new vocabulary. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And that speeded up everything when you were preparing for the writing.
Yeah, because I had about 4 days, so it was I was writing. If I said about the previous IELTS that I was writing like mad woman, it was even crazier. It was really I
Awesome.
just thought, okay, I have to. The problem with IELTS for this time was that I had to do it for 7.5, and even though that it was 6.5 every part, that I still had to have everything for 7.5 overall.
Gotcha.
So,
Oh, I see.
yeah.
So what
Yeah.
did you score? Actually, before we get into the
Yeah,
score, is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to share that could help a student pass the IELTS exam?
I have nothing on my mind right
No.
now. No,
Okay,
no.
no worries. No
I'm
worries.
trying
That's
to think.
good.
No.
I did my job. I've asked enough questions. Good
Yeah.
stuff. All right. Right then. So, what scores did you get then in your latest exam?
I got 8 from each section, except for writing, where I got 6.5.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm still satisfied, because I think there was very limited time to prepare, and
4
I was
days,
just
yeah?
it was
Wow.
still good, and 7.5 overall.
Right, I see. And that's got you enough, that's a high enough grade for the Irish route for medicine, yeah?
Yeah. I wanted to take it as soon as possible. I remember the requirements for the medical track for Ireland was published about 22nd, 23rd of October, and I took IELTS on the 27th or 28th of October.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, because there was a very limited time, and you never know when they will publish your results. I got mine in 2 days. I have to say, it was very quick.
Yeah.
So
Wow. And
but I'm still very satisfied. Speaking for 8, I was very shocked.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you use the speaking test simulator?
No,
No.
no
Oh,
time.
okay. You didn't have time. You're just focusing on the
Yeah,
writing.
I just focus on writing, and I'm still satisfied because on the when I was doing it with the page, it was also telling me I have 6.5, 7, and if you add the stress when you are on the time pressure and everything,
Uh-huh.
um, I was still very satisfied with the overall score.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah,
4 days, that's crazy. And 7.5 overall, that's
yeah.
really, really impressive scores there. So finally, as my last question, what would you
Mhm.
say to anyone who is considering taking the IELTS exam soon?
I think that it's a very difficult question because there's a lot of factors to consider. But if it's a person that already wants to take the IELTS, not to,
Yeah,
maybe just surround yourself with English and be
yeah,
aware that you already know a lot of things because you took this first step. So if you know that you can take the exam, you already have the knowledge,
hmm,
because not the same person is going to take IELTS if they don't know anything.
true, true.
So just to stay on track and keep doing what you're doing, and if you know that you already know a lot of, you understand speaking, let's say, you when you're listening to somebody, you have no problems, just focus on your weak points, and depends how much time you have. If you can
Yeah,
focus on each part, then go for it. But if there's just if you have limited time and you can focus on one part, just focus on this one part, and this one part can also give you the extra vocabulary for reading, for every part of IELTS, I think.
yeah, yeah. That's a great point. That's a great point. Like, you learn new vocabulary doing reading exams. There's no reason why you can't use it in your
Hmm.
speaking, in your
Yeah.
writing. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, super.
And
Well,
maybe about speaking, I also have this thing in mind. Try not to think about this person that you're talking to, because it's only you and this person and the thing that records you. Uh, try to think of this person as someone who really wants you to get the high score. I had that experience. I feel like this person is not your enemy, because sometimes we feel like the examiner is the one that wants to wants us to fail, but I had a very good experience. I have to say that my examiners, it's not like they were doing the face expressions that really encouraged me to speak more, but just imagine it's like a normal conversation, and even if you don't know the answer, just tell them, oh, it's a difficult question, I don't know the answer yet, I'm going to think about it, and just keep on talking. So show them that you are capable of what you're doing right now.
that's genius. Yeah, yeah. I've said very similar on previous tutorials, and other and ex-IELTS examiners have said the same. Like,
Hmm.
an examiner is looking for opportunities to give you points, you
Yeah,
know? So as you said, if you think of this person as your friend rather than your enemy, and it's your opportunity to shine in this
yeah,
exam, then
exactly.
it gets your whole mental mindset is going to be so much more powerful than going in there nervous, thinking, oh, I'm going to fail, this examiner is making it difficult. But yeah, so I love your point of view there, Patricia. That's
Yeah,
genius. That's
yeah,
genius.
thank you.
All right, so if you are going to take the IELTS exam soon, then you can head over to IELTSPodcast.com. We've got the AI essay checker, the exam simulator, and a big thank you to Patricia for joining us today. And I'm wishing you all the best in Ireland, Patricia.
Thank you very much.
I should have asked this at the beginning, but am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Well, in Poland
Oh, yeah.
they say it Patricia, but I
Patricia.
got used to so many versions of my name because, as you know, I'm both in Poland and in Italy all the time. So it's Patricia, Patricia, Patricia. It's so
Gotcha.
many. I'm looking forward to hearing something else in Ireland. You know? Yeah,
They might call you Paddy. We'll see.
yeah. Exactly. I think
So,
so.
so I guess English speakers say Patricia. Your native Polish friends and family will say Patricia,
Yeah,
Patricia. And then what do
Patricia.
your
Yeah.
And what did the Italians say? Patricia. Did they
Yeah,
sing
yeah,
it?
something like this. So we sometimes stay with Pat. It's easier. Pat is
Oh, gotcha.
international.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my wife has a similar experience. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I should have asked at the beginning, so I do apologize.
No problem. No problem
Okay.
at all.
All right then. Well, thank you very much, Patricia, and I'm wishing you all the best in Ireland.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.